Nino Brown. Nino Brown is not just a gangster. He's a businessman with blood on his hands and a vision sharpened by the chaos of 1980s America. In New Jack City, he doesn't hustle for survival, he strategizes for dominance. Where earlier, cinematic gangsters fought the system, Nino is the system. He absorbs its values, mirrors its language, and turns its tools into weapons. His gang, the Cash Money Brothers, isn't just a crew, it's a corporation. His philosophy? You gotta rob to get rich in the Reagan era. That single line is his worldview. Capitalism without restraint, morality, or mercy. Nino's most iconic move is taking over the Carter apartment complex, a low-income housing project, and turning it into a fortress for drug manufacturing and distribution. This isn't street crime, this is vertical integration. He's not slinging on corners, he's running a 24-hour narcotics factory with employees, security, and logistics. The tenants become either hostages or unwitting participants. He calls it combinating and consolidating. It's hostile takeover dressed in urban warfare. But Nino is more than methodical. He's mythic. He hands out turkeys at Thanksgiving, smiles for the cameras, and claims he's just giving people what they want. That's his con, posing as a community figure while poisoning that same community with crack cocaine. His self-delusion is chilling. He quotes scripture, watches Scarface, and laughs at Tony Montana's downfall, unaware that he's walking the same path. His ambition is unlimited, and so is his capacity for betrayal. His moral collapse reaches its peak with G Money, his closest friend and co-founder of C&B. They were brothers in every sense except blood, but when paranoia and greed set in, Nino guns him down, calling him Abel just before pulling the trigger. It's a biblical reference, a final note in his long song of justification. The mantra, "Am I my brother's keeper?" becomes a twisted prophecy. He isn't. Not anymore. Wesley Snipes brings Nino Brown to life with precision and menace. He's not loud or unhinged, he's calm, calculating, and always in control, until he's not. His charisma seduces, but his eyes stay cold. His performance is a study in contradictions, smiles masking fury, charm shadowed by sociopathy. Critics might have dismissed New Jack City as formulaic, but no one denied the force of Snipes' portrayal. It made him a star. Snipes was handpicked by screenwriter Barry Michael Cooper after he saw him in Michael Jackson's Bad video, directed by Martin Scorsese. Cooper saw in Snipes the raw potential to carry a crime epic, and director Mario Van Peebles agreed. They gave Snipes full space to dominate the screen, and he did. Afterward, Snipes refused to reprise the role in a sequel. He believed Nino's story was of its time and didn't want to glorify the drug trade any further. The roots of Nino's character trace back to real-life figures, like the Chambers brothers, who took over apartment complexes in Detroit in the 1980s and turned them into drug empires. Cooper's original article, "Kids Killing Kids, New Jack City Eats Its Young," was the source material for the script. Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas is not flashy. He doesn't rant, doesn't gloat, and doesn't pose. He builds an empire from silence and precision. In American Gangster, he's the disciplined tactician who bypasses the chaos of the street and builds a global heroin network with corporate efficiency. He doesn't rule with spectacle, he rules with logistics, quality control, and a cold, methodical vision of dominance. Lucas's rise is rooted in a simple business principle: better product, lower price. His heroin, branded Blue Magic, is nearly twice as pure and half as expensive as the competition. He sources it directly from Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War, cutting out the Italian mafia and creating his own independent pipeline. This move, bypassing traditional suppliers by going straight to the source, mirrors the innovation of a modern entrepreneur disrupting an old market. What sets Frank apart isn't just ambition, it's restraint. He avoids clubs, flashy cars, and big crowds. His mantra is simple: the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. But that discipline falters at a pivotal moment. At a boxing match, he wears a $100,000 chinchilla coat with a matching hat, a gift from his wife. That single moment of flash puts him in the crosshairs of law enforcement. It's his Achilles heel. Not violence, not betrayal, but ego dressed in fur. He is a paradox: a ruthless killer and a family man, a provider and a predator. He buys his mother a mansion, goes to church every Sunday, and hands out food to the poor, but will execute a man in broad daylight on a Harlem sidewalk without blinking. His violence is never chaotic, it's a message: controlled, direct, and unforgettable. Denzel Washington captures Frank Lucas with haunting stillness. His performance is tightly wound, every line deliberate, every gesture exact. There are no outbursts, no unraveling, just a slow, constant pressure that holds the screen. His portrayal turns Lucas into a figure of power, not through noise, but through gravity. His presence commands attention, even when he says nothing. Washington spent significant time with the real Frank Lucas before filming. He absorbed not just the facts, but the energy, the controlled intensity, the quiet menace. That research shaped a performance that never slips into caricature. One scene, Lucas killing a rival with a pistol to the head in broad daylight, is delivered with surgical calm. It isn't rage, it's procedure. That's what makes him terrifying. The real-life Lucas claimed the film was only about 20% true. Still, the essence is intact. His story, or at least the version told in American Gangster, positions him as the black answer to the Italian mob kingpin. He plays the game better, cleaner, and more efficiently. His competition hides behind families and rituals.
Sorry for stopping your video, but you really should subscribe.
Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy Johnson is not introduced as a villain, he's presented as a protector. In Hoodlum, Lawrence Fishburne's portrayal reshapes the gangster myth into one of nobility, intellect, and purpose. He's not chasing power for its own sake, he's defending Harlem. His weapons are brains, loyalty, and, when necessary, brutal precision. He's the rare cinematic gangster who quotes poetry, plays chess, and wages war like a tactician, not a thug. The film reframes Johnson's fight as more than a turf war. It's a defense of the black-owned numbers racket against the encroachment of the white mob. Dutch Schultz, erratic and violent, wants control. Lucky Luciano, calculating and cold, sees Harlem as just another asset. But Bumpy fights to keep the economy of Harlem in Harlem's hands. He's not an invader, he's a guardian. This framing turns his criminal acts into something more: economic resistance. His complexity is explored through his relationships. With Illinois Gordon, the idealist who urges peace. With Francine, a social worker who dreams of legitimacy. These characters don't just add drama, they externalize Bumpy's moral struggle. Can a man protect his community with blood on his hands? Can a gangster be good? Fishburne's Bumpy doesn't offer a clean answer. He believes the ends justify the means, but the toll shows in his eyes. The final scene, Bumpy standing in the rain at his cousin's funeral, is not a victory. It's a reckoning. The war might be won, but the cost is clear. This moment isn't about triumph, it's about survival. He's not celebrating, he's mourning what the world forced him to become. Fishburne delivers a performance of quiet gravity. His Bumpy doesn't shout, he doesn't rant, he speaks like a man who weighs every word. That restraint makes his moments of violence hit harder. Not just physically, but emotionally. He's not a man who enjoys hurting people, he's a man who's decided it's sometimes necessary. And that burden shows. This was Fishburne's second time embodying the character. He had earlier portrayed a fictionalized version, Bumpy Rhodes, in The Cotton Club. That familiarity allowed him to craft a portrayal layered with history and purpose. In interviews, Fishburne emphasized that Bumpy's criminality wasn't born from greed, but from a lack of legitimate options. As a black man in America, Johnson understood that playing by the rules often meant losing, so he made his own. Yet the film takes major liberties with history. In reality, Bumpy Johnson worked under Stephanie St. Clair, a powerful crime boss in her own right, but Hoodlum diminishes her role, positioning Bumpy as the mastermind and protector. Likewise, the film depicts him orchestrating the death of Dutch Schultz, when that hit was actually ordered by the National Syndicate due to Schultz's erratic behavior. Even the portrayal of Thomas Dewey as corrupt is fiction. The real Dewey was known for prosecuting organized crime, not cooperating with it. These alterations aren't mistakes, they're deliberate. Hoodlum isn't just telling Bumpy's story, it's mythologizing it. It creates a version of Bumpy that history denied. A black gangster who wins, who outsmarts the mob, who holds Harlem. The film trades fact for folklore, and in doing so gives the audience the hero they never got. Lennox, or Ox as he's known in Belly, isn't introduced with backstory or exposition. He arrives fully formed, a towering presence cloaked in calm, commanding authority. He doesn't rant, he doesn't explain, he just is, and that's the point. In Hype Williams' visually driven film, Lennox is less a character and more a symbol, the personification of the Jamaican Don Dada archetype. He's the gatekeeper to a deeper, more dangerous level of the drug world, one where style, authenticity, and fear intermingle. His role is brief but unforgettable. He supplies the heroine that sets the main plot in motion, but his influence extends far beyond a business transaction. When DMX's character Tommy Bundy enters Lennox's mansion, he's stepping into another world, one ruled by codes, history, and quiet menace. Lennox doesn't bark orders. He issues calm directives in thick Jamaican patois, seated in an opulent, art-filled home that screams wealth and power. His most memorable line is simple but chilling. "Don't you ever bring scared business to me. You're looking at the toughest rasclaw Jamaican in the United States of America." It's not a boast, it's a statement of fact. Lennox's function is narrative and atmospheric. He raises the stakes. His involvement shifts the film's energy from local turf battles to international criminal politics. When he sends Tommy to Jamaica for an assassination, it isn't just a plot turn, it's a descent into a darker realm. Lennox doesn't need screen time to dominate. His presence alone reshapes the world of the film. What makes Lennox resonate so deeply is the man behind him, Louis Rankin. Unlike traditional actors, Rankin wasn't trained in theater or film. He was a dancehall artist, famous in Jamaica as the self-proclaimed original Jamaican Don Dada. His casting wasn't about range, it was about presence. He brought his real-life persona to the role, and that blurred line between fiction and reality gave Lennox an authenticity that no actor could fake. His cadence, his slang, his body language, all of it came from experience, not rehearsal. That's why Lennox doesn't feel like a scripted character. He feels like someone you could meet and someone you'd never forget. Rankin would go on to play a similar role, Teddy Brugshot, in the cult classic Shotas, but Lennox remains his most iconic performance. Lennox's most unforgettable moment arrives during the climactic "You Wanna Rump With Me" scene, a stylized gunfight that feels more like a music video than a crime scene. Bathed in eerie blue light, Lennox moves with methodical precision, calmly picking off the intruders as chaos erupts around him. Despite being outnumbered and ambushed, he holds his ground like a general defending a fortress. The sequence is brief but explosive, reinforcing his mythic aura. A man who refuses to go down quietly, meeting violence with elegance and controlled fury. It's the ultimate punctuation to his legend. Stylish, defiant, and undeniably cinematic. Visually, Lennox fits perfectly into Hype Williams' vision. Belly is not a plot-driven film, it's an aesthetic experience. Every frame is designed like an album cover, lit with moody neon blues and deep reds. Lennox Mansion isn't just a set, it's a visual thesis. Art on the walls, marble floors, ambient lighting. Power is communicated not through monologue, but through his surroundings. His legacy lives on, especially in hip-hop culture. Lennox is often quoted, sampled, and referenced, not because he had a complex arc, but because he embodied something real. Tragically, Louis Rankin died in a car accident in 2019, but his legacy as Lennox endures. A reminder that sometimes, the most unforgettable gangsters don't need to say much at all. Priest. Ron O'Neal's Priest doesn't want to rule the streets, he wants out of them. In Superfly, he's not chasing power or revenge, he's chasing freedom. That's what sets him apart from every gangster who came after. He's a hustler with a plan. One last deal, 30 kilos of cocaine, and then he's gone. No more crime, no more risk, just escape. And that dream, to break out of the life, not rise inside it, defines everything he does. His world is sharp, stylish, and cold. His long coats, his permed hair, his Cadillac Eldorado, these aren't just fashion, they're armor. Tools to move through a system designed to keep him trapped. But that system isn't just the street. It's the police, the city, the country. In Superfly, the drug trade isn't just crime. It's a business controlled by corrupt white cops at the top. When Priest learns the police commissioner is the real kingpin, his fight becomes something bigger. He's not just escaping the streets, he's outsmarting the entire system. What makes Priest powerful isn't muscle, it's intelligence. He refuses to accept that dealing drugs is the only option for black men. His partner Eddie does. Eddie says it's the only game the man left us to play. But Priest isn't satisfied with that. He doesn't want to be rich if it means staying in chains. That's why he risks everything to break free. His victory isn't getting more power, it's walking away from it. Ron O'Neal plays Priest with smooth control and hidden fire. His voice is calm, but every word feels loaded. He moves like someone who knows he's being watched but refuses to show fear. O'Neal wasn't just acting, he helped shape the story. He co-developed the script and brought a deep understanding of who Priest was. A classically trained actor, he gave the role a seriousness that made it feel real and complex. But that depth came with a cost. After Superfly's success, O'Neal was typecast. Many believed he was just like the character he played. In real life, he didn't use drugs and had never lived that kind of life. Yet he spent years defending the film, saying it wasn't about glorifying crime, it was about one man trying to escape a broken world. In interviews, he said Priest wasn't a hero or a saint, he just believed he deserved something better. Behind the scenes, Superfly was a landmark in black filmmaking. It was funded by black investors from Harlem, small business owners, doctors, even barbers. That independence meant the filmmakers had full creative control. They hired mostly non-white crew members and shot the film in Harlem using real locations and people. The car Priest drives wasn't a studio prop, it was loaned by a real Harlem pimp named KC, who even appears in the film. The soundtrack by Curtis Mayfield is legendary. Songs like Pusher Man and Freddy's Dead offer a raw, honest view of the drug game. While the movie shows the glamour, the music tells the truth. That tension between image and sound gives the film its lasting power. Priest also rejects two other paths. He doesn't want to blend into white society, and he doesn't believe in black power militancy. When activists confront him, he shrugs them off. To him, both systems are broken. His way out is personal. Not political, not collective, just one man buying his freedom. That's what makes Priest so important. He's not trying to rule the game, he's trying to end it. He's the original rebel with a code. And he proved that sometimes the most radical thing a gangster can do is walk away. O-Dog. O-Dog isn't chasing money, power, or freedom. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't want out. He wants chaos. In Menace to Society, O-Dog is the youngest and most unpredictable character, and also the most terrifying. He isn't a gangster with goals, he's violence without a purpose. His actions don't build anything. They destroy. That's what makes him different and dangerous. You meet O-Dog in the very first scene. He and his friend Kane stop at a convenience store. A simple moment turns deadly when the store owner mutters, "I feel sorry for your mother." O-Dog snaps. He shoots both owners, execution style, and steals the surveillance tape, not to hide it, but to show it off. He plays the video for his friends like it's a trophy. He laughs, rewinds it, and watches the killing over and over. That tape isn't evidence to him. It's proof of who he is. Unlike many high-profile gangsters, O-Dog has no empire, no business, no future, not a leader, or even a thinker. He acts on impulse. He's young, angry, and doesn't care if he lives or dies. That's what Kane, the film's narrator, means when he says, O-Dog was America's nightmare, young, black, and didn't give a. O-Dog is Kane's best friend and his worst influence. While Kane struggles with questions of right and wrong, O-Dog has no doubts. He drags Kane deeper into a world of retaliation and recklessness. Every time Kane thinks about changing, O-Dog pulls him back. Not because he's trying to ruin Kane, but because destruction is all he knows. Lawrence Tate plays O-Dog with chilling precision. He was only 17 when he took the role, best known at the time for a family sitcom, but here he's something else entirely. His performance is quiet, sharp, and filled with sudden explosions. He smiles one moment and kills the next. Tate drew on his experiences growing up in Chicago and Los Angeles. What he brought to the role wasn't imagination, it was observation. The directors, the Hughes brothers, wanted realism. They cast mostly first-time actors, encouraged improvisation, and shot the film like a documentary. Everything feels raw, from the acting to the lighting. The world of Menace to Society isn't stylized. It's stripped down. The film doesn't offer easy answers or happy endings. It's a slow-motion disaster with no escape. Tate later said he wanted to break away from the clean-cut image he had as a child actor. He succeeded. O-Dog became a symbol of rage, hopelessness, and a system that chews people up. Even his actions show who he is. He kills a man for a rude comment, shoots a junkie for making an offer he didn't like. His violence isn't about money, power, or control. It's fast, emotional, unplanned. It's not part of a larger goal, it is the goal. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe. I've got a lot more content coming. Thanks for watching.